Hi everyone, my name is Miss Silas and I will be one of your grade 11 maths teacher. Today is our first lesson for Term 2 and the topic is on measurements. Measurements, okay? What are measurements? Measurements in fact quantifies the earth, the world, meaning it helps us to know exactly what time we should go to sleep and wake up so we are not late for school. It tells us the distance between two places, and it tells us how many kilograms we are carrying so that you can drink the correct amount of medicine according to your weight. Today we're going to look at two main systems that are being used in the world. There could be more than two, but we're going to only look at two, okay? And they are the imperial system, and the metric. The two systems were introduced some 200 years ago. Okay, the imperial system was introduced by Great Britain and was used mainly by its colonies, whereas the metric system was introduced in France. Today, most of the countries have opted to use the metric system. Why is that? There must be a reason as to why they have decided to use the metric system. And the reason is the metric system is very easy to use because they use a base of 10. For example, 10 millimeters is equal to 1 centimeter, and 1000 grams is equal to 1 kilogram. As for the imperial system, can you imagine your weight in 20 stones, 5 stones? So they use units like stones, pounds, inches, and yards. Okay, so it's a little confusing on how, or a little difficult to deal with the units of the imperial system. But don't worry, because that's what we are going to look at today. We're going to be looking at conversion of the imperial to metric and vice versa. Okay, so we're going to look at two main measurement conversion today, and they are the lengths and the volume. Okay, so we're going to look at the conversion of lengths and the conversion of volumes from imperial to metric. Okay, so for the lengths, we have 1 yard is equal to 0.9144 meters. That's for the length. And then we have the volume. Okay, so the unit for volume, let's find out. For volume, we have 1 gallon is equivalent to 4.546 liters. Okay, so that would be the two. There are other conversions that are there as well for mass, for area, but we're going to look at mainly on the length and the volume conversion. We're now going to look at two practical examples. So let's say example number 1. Example number 1, I wanted to buy some fabric to do curtains, to do new curtains for myself. So I went to the shop and they tell me I want 5 meters, and they said, yeah, 5 yards of fabric, and you will have to pay 7 kina per meter. And I was wondering, what is yard? Because what I know is meters. Okay, so anyway, from the conversion, I am able to calculate how many meter is equivalent to 5 yards. Okay, so we have question number 1. Question number 1, how many meters is the 5 yards? Okay, so from the conversion, I have 5 yards times 0.9144. That's the conversion to meters. So that will give me 4.572 meters. Okay, so 4.572 meters is equivalent to 5 yards. Okay, then how much would I pay for the 5 yards? Will be our second part of the question. Okay, so let's see. From the question I read earlier, it's 7 kina per meter. So now we see there's 4.572 meters that I will purchase. Okay, so it's 4.572 meters times 7 kina. Okay, and that will give me 32 kina. Okay, so I would spend 32 kina to purchase the 5 yards of fabric, which is equivalent to 4.572 meters. Okay, so that's our first example on the conversion of the lengths. Okay, our next example will be based on volume. Where I come from, we travel from the island to the mainland where the town is. The Zoom are in gallons. And at first when I went, I was like, how many liter is a gallon? Okay, so it was on festive season. I went home, so they said, I want to go to town. I need to get something. Well, you've got to pay for the trip. You've got to pay for the trip. And the trip needs 6 people, but there's no 6 people. I'm the only person who want to go to town. Okay? So, example number 2. As I've stated, is based on volume. So I'm traveling to town. So let's look at the first one. How many liter is 6 gallons? Okay, it's simple conversion. Okay, so we simply get 6 times the conversion on 4.546. Okay, so that will give us 27.276 liters. Okay, so the 6 gallons is equivalent to 27.276 liters. So that's how much Zoom I would need. Okay, now I will have to pay for all this. So let's find out how much I will pay for the whole trip. Okay, so let's see. How much will the 27.276 liters will cost me? Okay, so earlier as I've stated, it's 27 kina 50 toya per gallon in order for me to go to town. And here they said, you are the only person who need to travel, so you pay for it. So let's see how much I would pay. Okay, so I have straight calculation, 6 again, because 6 gallons, and we multiply by, okay, so 6 gallons, and we multiply by 27.50 per gallon. Okay, so I will definitely need to pay for the 6 gallon myself, and I will pay 165 kina in order for me to go to town. So you see the conversions we have done. Though we don't know the imperial system, it's in existence, and all we needed is the table from our books. With the conversion tables, you can convert from metric to imperial and vice versa. So you can see from here, we've done a lot of 2 main conversion, though there are others. Okay, so I'm glad you've learned something. I believe you've learned something from this lesson, and the reality that there's a mixture of both the imperial and the metric system still in use. Though we said that imperial has died, it's still very much alive in our country today. Thank you. That brings us to the end of the lesson, and our next lesson will be based on the difference between capacity and volume. And we'll have to find out what is the difference. Are there some difference between the two terms? We'll find out in our next lesson. Bye for now.